What up, peeps? It's your girl, Josh, coming back to you for Real Takes. Today I'll be doing a review to Insecure's episode 3 titled Backwards Alike. Now, this one is a full episode. A lot was going on in this episode, and it was a really juicy one. Now, of course, I stated the first one was a good episode. The second one I felt was more of a filler. It was just basically all about, like I said, Issa and Daniel. Now, the third episode so far, it was Daniel, Issa, Molly. It was really a full-fledged episode, and of course all the other girls you get to see as well. Now let me just kind of just dig into this one. Now the first part of the episode, you do see Issa being shown an actual apartment. Now with that, she kind of looks around, she's kind of trying to decide, how does she feel about it, because of course, Daniel has basically given her, the go-ahead to continue staying. And that 1 week went right out the door, and she is slightly contemplating, because when you see prior to the introduction, the guy asks her, so do you want to take it? And you just kind of see her kind of glancing and looking what looks like in a mirror or whatever, and it kind of goes to the next set of scenes. Now, I'm excited for the simple fact that she's trying to do the right thing for herself, because as much as she likes being there with Daniel, I know she would probably want her own space anyway. And having to now think it over, kind of throw it out there to Daniel and all that, kind of see what the vibe is going to be. And that's probably why we didn't get to see her actual final decision. Now, I did enjoy how we move into another scene where we see Molly. Now, Molly's back, of course, and we get to see her now at an all-black firm. She's kind of getting acquainted with her new colleagues. And you notice that she's kind of making little comments, little stereotypical comments, bringing up stuff, about, shea butter dispenser, thing like that, which I thought was kind of like, okay, kind of like, I don't know, diffusing, a little bit of, the nerves, attention, whatever, and all that, trying to fit in or whatever, because as you all know from the previous season, she was trying to become partner. She was in a predominantly white firm, and as much as they liked her, they basically did not make her partner, and she felt devalued, and that's of course now where we are seeing her this firm. Now throughout the episode, we do see scenes with her with the firm where she makes little comments where if she's trying to have something suddenly delivered or whatever, they don't have a certain program called DocuSign, that would make things a little bit more easier for her to get work done. They have a courier instead who has 3 separate time frames that they would take the stuff that she needs that needs to be delivered or sent or whichever. And of course she's jotting it down. The woman's kind of letting her know, and she's just like, oh, Then you have other scenes where she goes back to her office and there's a box, and they're like, oh, what are these boxes? You all are off-site storage. And they're like, oh no, your office is pretty much a storage. And of course the guys have a little chuckle, and she's like, oh, okay. And she's just kind of going with the flow. And then you have one scene which they're having an overall meeting in one of their conference rooms, and she makes a comment about one of the main guys not being there as he on CP time. Everybody should know what that means, color people time, whichever. And they're like, no, sometimes he takes other things, another, maybe like a phone call, whatever, and all that. So we always like to start the meeting, prior to that. So once he comes in, it can kind of just go to the core of it. When she makes that comment, you can see the expression on her face, her making it whichever and all that, because a couple of the people in the meeting kind of laughed, and they said, yeah, if you were at another firm, they probably would start on time or whatever and all. And you could tell she feels very kind of embarrassed for some of the things she's saying. So it's kind of like when you see her later on with the girls, she brings these type of things up that she doesn't understand what they're doing, all these things that could make the job a little bit more efficient, whichever. And of course, Kelly addresses like, we always coming down on our own whenever we can't, try to work with them, whichever. And I see the validity in what Kelly's saying and what Molly's saying. I see what Molly's saying, where if they had this type of stuff to make it more efficient, to make the business flow, whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that. This is supposed to be a prestigious, firm, even if it is a black, all black, firm, that does make the work flow. Same thing with Kelly saying, you're at this particular, company that is more black owned. You're sitting there nitpicking at certain things and whining about whichever and all that. It's almost like, you're not giving it that time. You just started, give it time. This might be their way, and it might have worked for so long. Now you're here, you're saying these little things. You would think there's a way to go about it by saying, suggesting, well, maybe they want to consider, down the road, implementing this or doing this, whichever. I can see both the points. And like I said, let me put it like this. I work at a firm, so I can see from the aspect that she's discussing, because I know working in firms that might be predominantly a certain race or ones that are more diverse. I've worked at a few of them. So watching this episode was very enlightening to me. I'm not going to go into detail about that, whatever. I'm trying to just keep it to the episode. But this part was very, very close to home with some of the things I've dealt with, over the years when you're dealing in a certain aspect of a firm, certain things have to be updated, certain, firms, take a little bit more longer than others to get with the times and ways of dealing with technology. Of course, like they say, with storage as well. So I like that they did a little discussion with that. So it's not just showing her straight into the firm and you're not really seeing the real dynamics of how things roll within a firm, her getting along with colleagues, some of the commentary that they say when they're talking amongst each other, just very deep. And I'm looking forward to the next couple of episodes of seeing her really in those type of elements in certain situations a little bit more, so we can see exactly how she's really going to feel. Is this going to be the fit for her? Because the way it's starting off, whatever, you can tell how she's feeling. She's not feeling, very comfortable right now. So many certain little small things have happened and she's already having little issues, whichever. So it's just to kind of show as the episodes go on, we get to episodes maybe 5, 6, how she's going to feel. Is she going to want to stay? Is she going to feel like this is not my fit? I'm not willing to give it more of a chance, whatever. I'm going to get out while the getting's good. So I'm looking forward to that dynamic. Now, speaking of Kelly, we did see Tiffany and Kelly. They all go out for drinks. And they're kind of venting. She's venting to them. Kelly kind of checking her. Same thing. Seeing how Tiffany's doing, played by Amanda Seales. Her, of course, now she's expecting to see her baby bump. She's wanting to know what the girls are doing. She sent out an email, whatever, letting them know about the stuff, the festivities for her baby, and them ignoring her. And the scene with her and Issa being in the back, and Issa's texting Molly and Kelly like, I told you. And she's like, I can see you. And she's like, oh, I'm saying something else to someone else, all the while. We know better. But yes, just looking at the ladies being together and the banter was really nice to watch as well. Just to kind of see them in their element. I love when they get together, and then just, listening to them. They go sit down, getting acquainted. They're drinking, they're eating. And then, of course, eventually Issa let it be known about her situation. And, of course, Molly's like, okay, you being in the situation with Daniel, there's nothing good about that. You definitely need to get your place. Kelly does let it be known that you're not there yet. You need to do this. But she just let them know that she has a place, considered. But she might be wanting to stay with Daniel. And of course, ears flare up on all three of the ladies. And they're like, Tiffany, the main one, why? Making her explain herself. And from there, they're like, no, you need to not do that. Don't do this. Because, of course, when Kelly finds out she's been living there and she's, of course, cooking or cleaning and doing things. And she's like, you're doing all this, all because you're getting some, and she's like, no, she's not. And she's just like, really? Like, but then she's like, I have a place. Maybe I should just stay here because he wants me, to be there. We're getting along nice. We're building this friendship with her and all this could eventually mean they can become more. And they're like, no. They're like, no, you don't need to be there, whichever. And she just feels like her girls don't got her back when they don't have her back in this instance because they know anything pertaining to Daniel. When you think about how things started from season 1 and escalated where it caused the breakup between her and Lawrence, again, Daniel was involved, even though he really didn't know what was the situation, all that after everything kind of exploded. But just knowing that he's involved, again, nothing good most likely will come out of that. So they kind of just cut her down with that part, whichever. Then we move into Daniel, him trying to see what's going to happen with the rapper Spider. He's working with a guy in the studio named Khalil, whatever. They're kind of, not to say bumping heads, but they have an idea, each of them, of what kind of beat to showcase to Spider when he shows up. And of course, Khalil's just breaking all certain things down from the track that Daniel made. And he said, maybe you should take that off. Maybe you should take this off. Yeah, that sounds good like that. And Daniel's like, there was nothing wrong with my track. So he's like, let him hear that, whatever, and all that. It's going to work out. He going to like that. He going to like that, whatever, and all that. And you can tell Daniel's hesitant. So when, of course, Spider shows up at the studio, he plays him his track. And you can see the look on his face. His boy was not happy. He's like, what about that other track? You got that? And, of course, he kind of looks at, Khalil, and then they do this little back and forth look, and eventually plays him. Spider liked the first one. He's like, Dag, I like that one too. And he's just like, I don't know what to decide, boys. What should I do? And you can tell Khalil feels like, that's kind of wrong. You did that, whatever, because you're making me think you were going to showcase the one that we both, had talked about, whatever. More so Khalil than Daniel, because Daniel was just going with it, but he really didn't like that. He was trying to stay true to himself with the beat, whatever, and all. And the guy in the end didn't like it, but you did it under the cut, so it looks really bad. So, of course, when he kind of gets with, Issa later on, they're out eating, and she could tell he's kind of feeling a little, kind of, standoffish, while they're eating. He's complaining about the service not being good. They're out in an area where they can get a good view. They have a nice table. And she's wondering why he's nitpicking at the little thing because she knows something else is on his mind. He finally vents it and tells what happened. She's like, well, why did you go about doing like this? Maybe you might want to apologize. And that's kind of where it goes from having a nice outing, her making a comment about flirt, like them being Beyonce, Jay-Z, we cute, whatever, to him feeling like she doesn't have something she's very passionate about. Now, case in point, prior to that, she does have the situation with her company where Joanne sends them out to do a job fair with Frida. And she comes across this nice little, dance, group called the Beat Crew, and they put on a great little, performance, whatever. And she's really liking it. She's enjoying it, whichever. And she meets a guy who's, the leader of the crew. And she's just like, I love what you're doing, whichever, and all that. And he's like, my name is this, keep in touch. But then she has to go back to her own booth or whatever and all, because we have some people who, like, a line forming for people interested in applying for the job and getting an interview. So she's kind of, goes back, whatever, and all that. They show one scene where they're meeting with a woman named Antoinette, and they're talking. It's her and Frida. They're asking a couple questions. Eventually, Frida removes herself, and it's just her and Issa. And she just basically asks her. So she's like, so what's the real tea? What's the real? And she's like, it is what it is, whatever. And she's like, she's asking her questions. And the one thing that comes up, I did notice distinctly, because you can see the look on Issa's face. She's like, so how long you been here? She's like, 5 years. She's like, oh, so you really do like it. And she's like, yeah. But you can see deep down, she's not. She doesn't feel fulfilled. You can tell for the last season, even going into that, certain things happening. And of course, the big first episode of the season, the rift of what happened around the finale and her having that little tension with her boss, Joanne, and then a little bit of tension with Frida, even though they were past it. But just feeling like she's not excelling the way she wants to be and doing what she wants. She shows her looking at her computer at, the people from the Beat Crew, and all that, and looking at the site, whatever. And she's interested in doing that. But she has other things she's really trying to do. So it's like she had to put that on a back burner. So that goes back to present her talking with Daniel and him lashing out at her, talking about she's not doing anything she's passionate about. You wouldn't understand. And she's like, that's really what you think? You really think that? And at that moment, of course, one of the things he complained about, drinks not being on time, the drinks show up, and it's very awkward. He's just sitting there, whichever. And of course, it pans to them at, in, the bed. He's on one side, she's on the other. So, of course, his way of trying to diffuse the little bit of tension, that's happened between them since that outing, having what looked like could have been dinner, an early dinner, he's just trying to, fill her out by talking to her. And she's like, it's okay, whatever. He decides, oh, I'm just going to go about pleasuring you, and we'll just kind of like use that to kind of move past this. And you can tell she's completely turned off. She's like, this isn't right. She doesn't feel nothing for this. And you can tell, because after that, he turns around and she's on her side. She's looking, and you can just see from there, because she decided to go ahead and consider going ahead and taking the place. And I can tell that's where her mind went, because when you see the episode, it looks like she decided to go ahead and do that. She needs to separate herself from Daniel. And sadly, this had to be the wake-up call she needed, because she's being a friend. She's always being a friend to him since she's been moving in there, just to give whatever sound advice. But he's, didn't like the way she phrased it when it came to that whole situation, but she was not wrong. And it's unfortunate, but in the end, if this is the push she needed, even though it had to happen this way, which is the sad part, it needed to be done. And now I'm ready for Issa to move on, get this new place, do what you need to do, and eventually work up to going with the Beat Crew. I think that's where her heart wants, because she looks very interested, and that's something along the lines that she would really probably enjoy being a part of. I wonder if that's what's going to happen moving forward with the season, because I like to know how they're going to keep the other characters. I do enjoy Frida. The other characters, Joanna, don't really do me or faze me, whichever, but we'll have to see if it's going to tug at her to leave them. She's been with them for 5 years, and that's the thing. You got to make sure you have another job lined up before you can go and start leaving jobs. But then it's like, she has to work on getting herself a place, whatever, and then dealing with that. And with this particular place, if she does take this place, that means she'll be the property manager. So that'll be interesting. Right there, she has a job already built in on top of her having a place. So that's like, 2 in 1, and that's like a win-win. So we'll have to see. I'm looking forward to episode 4. and what they're going to showcase in that particular episode. But this one was a really good episode. I'm looking forward to seeing more of the ladies. I'm enjoying understanding the dynamic with Molly. You know, she's got some things she needs to work on. You're already dealing with the situation with dealing with being the third wheel when it comes to Dro and the wife, whatever. Now you're dealing with your job aspects, whichever. She has some areas, whichever, because you can sometimes feel like she comes up very bougie about certain things. She's used to all these certain things at the other firm she was at, and then you come into this one and they're not doing everything you want them to do, and now it's like, okay, now this is going to be a problem here, and now you're going to keep just jumping from job to job. So like I said, I'm looking forward to the dynamic of understanding how they're going to make her deal with the situation. Is she just going to stick it out, or is she going to have her start looking again? She can't stay somewhere long enough for us to really see her grow and build or whatever. Same thing, I want to see a little bit more with Kelly. I want to see a little bit more Tiffany and her husband now she's expecting. So hopefully as episodes go, whatever, we'll start seeing a little bit more of everybody else, because I can see we're evolving Daniel's storyline a little bit, definitely Issa's. Now I'm ready to see some more of the characters, you know, so they can be showcased a little bit more. So you guys comment below. Let me know what you all enjoyed of episode 3. And with that said, I will see you guys on the next review. You guys take care.